Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrobrand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Ooh, luminaries, I am so excited today to bring the beautiful intuitive healer, seer, and life coach, Tracy Neely. Oh my goodness. She helps visionary women healers illuminate and become aware of the soul and how it projects through their business. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you, sister. So happy
Oh,
to be here.
Oh my goodness. So Tracy and I, we've known each other for a while through some masterminds, and we've had chances to co-create and collaborate as each other's clients. But I think one of the reasons why Tracy and I are just so connected, well, first of all, she has her Libra Sun in cazimi with Mercury right in the 10th house. And then of course her Aquarius moon and her then Sagittarius rising, which is just so beautiful synastry with my natal energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful connection. I'm super grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness. So it interests me so much because we both come from this place where we think of our businesses as an extension. I think of our businesses as an extension of our soul. And for you, you think about it a little bit differently as we are the soul of our business. Can you
Mm,
share with that a little bit about that?
absolutely. You know, it's interesting because when you hear that, you think I'm the only one in my business. And no, for me, it's like my soul, right? What I incarnated into directs everything. So my business isn't like separate from my spirituality. For
Mhm.
me, business is spiritual. And
Yeah.
because I feel guided and led by my soul, my business is a reflection of the energy that's emanating from me. So it's just like this beautiful dance that me and my business get to do because in the center of that, everything is like just connected so deeply to the soul. And the soul, for me, is the truth. And
Mm.
so when I am not showing up as my real, full, authentic selves, when I get in my head about something or some wounding comes back, my soul is like, I need to remind you of your truth. Meaning, I need to remind you who you are, whose you are in your business. And so that is why the soul of my business means everything to me because it is just me living out and sharing my gifts in a way that lights up my soul, right? So
Yeah.
it's just the truth.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before officially recording about how much energy and just like the kind of like the drain of energy when we're not being
Mm.
our true selves.
Oh my goodness. And I've been there.
Yeah,
We'll
me
probably
too.
be there again. You know what I mean? I'm still evolving, but I don't know. Like, there's something that happens when you just connect so deeply to your own presence, to your own energy, versus being in other people's perceptions. Because that's
Yes.
when the stories and the beliefs and how we hold ourselves back or dim our light or hide. And I'm like, our work is too powerful. There's just so much healing that I feel like this world needs, especially now.
Yeah.
And so it really is about how can I just show up as the fullest expression of me every day. And there are
Yeah.
days when it doesn't work out, but I always give myself grace and say, you know what, it's going to be a new day. But really, it takes so much more energy for me not to be myself than it is to be myself. And the only way that I can be myself is to know myself. And the only way that I can know myself is to heal. So,
Yes.
you know?
I love that so much because I feel like that's where there's this huge intersection of where our work meets. Although the way that we approach it is a little bit different. Of course, I'm using star powered and astrology to kind of cut through all those shoulds and to
Mhm.
cut through the copying and all the guesswork that we think about when we're looking at our identity and how we show up in our business. Can you tell us a little bit how you cut through all of that kind of the false identity identity and all of that copying and comparison that we suffer. So many of us suffer
Oh my
from in our
goodness. I've
businesses.
I've I've been there.
Yeah.
I felt bad about things and then questioned and worried and doubted. And really everything for me is energy, right?
Mhm.
Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. So I really started looking at the conversation I was having with my shadow
Mm.
because it's beautiful to be in the light, but the shadow is where like the real work is, right? Because you really get to see who you are. You get to really see what hasn't been healed yet. And so the way that I work, because I work in energies, I work a lot in our energy centers, and I work a lot in our nervous system, because I feel like they tell us a story, even stories that we think we've forgotten about. They're never gone, right? They're sitting in our subconscious. They're sitting in our nervous system, and so I start to ask really deep questions. Actually, let me just pull that back a minute. First, I need to get still. Because
Mm.
the faster that I am moving in this world, the less I can get to connect with myself or with my energy or hear myself or
Mhm.
even feel myself, right? Because if I don't feel myself, I can't be myself. So that's really how I do it. I just connect with my breath and my energy. I ask questions. I start to scan to see what's going on in my nervous system. What story do I continue to play out that is not in alignment with what I say my desires are, especially as it relates to my business? How am
Yeah.
I out of balance? What is going on that I am feeling like I'm too much in what people think about me, right? Because it's
Yeah.
easy to say, oh, I don't care what people think about me, it's none of my business. But our woundings will always bring that back to, yes, you do care. And when you start to think about things in your mind, the mind is like, oh, that's where you want to go? Let me show you 10 other ways you can continue to think that. So, breath work is something that allows me to just stop the noise, tune into
Mm.
myself, connect with my body, meaning my physical body, my energy body, my emotional, my etheric, my spiritual, ask questions. And then I need to be still enough to listen,
Yeah.
and then I need to trust, and then
Trust.
believe, and then move. That's what I'm meant to do. And I'm meant to be quiet and be still. That's what I do as well. Yeah. So I want to share a little secret with you. I'm incredibly shy.
Mhm.
I am a serious introvert. And the reason I say that is because someone may be listening to this, right? And they may be in their beliefs and their stories about I'm too shy, I'm an introvert, I can't put myself out there.
Mhm.
But there's something that happens when you say yes to your divine purpose, when you say yes to your soul work. All that shyness and introvertedness
Mhm.
kind of goes away for the moment so that I get to really be in my presence and show up in places like this. Do I get nervous? Absolutely. But that's what
Yeah.
you have tools for, right? You have tools that can help you to ground yourself back to yourself because you know that your mission, your purpose, your work is so much bigger than the fear and all the things that come up. So I was just felt like something told me to just share that.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I don't think anybody would ever know that you're an introvert, that you're shy, because you present so beautifully and so calmly that that inner light shows through. And I love that approach to that energy and how the stories and the belief systems, they kind of get stuck in your nervous system and in your mind. And the reason why I love that so much for you is when of course, I'm looking at your chart as we're talking, and the things start to light up for me as you're talking. So earlier you mentioned that Tracy has her sun conjunct Mercury at the exact same degree in the 10th house in Libra. And so that's her superpowers of harmonizing and balancing and connecting. And you can hear how she even just like talked about, like, I'm connecting to my breath, I'm connecting to my feelings, I'm connecting to my nervous system, I'm connecting to spirit. Like, just how she's talking, she's just like glowing her superpowers. But there's this one aspect in her chart that is so revealing. And so we think she was mentioned, Tracy, you were mentioning a lot about the shadow work and our past hurts, all of those wounds. And I look at that as Chiron. There's a lot of Chiron, and Chiron is so important in our businesses because it shows us these wounds that we've overcome, that maybe we haven't fully, or that we're not able to heal, but like it turns into this gift that we're supposed to extend forward. And Chiron has this like opposition with your stellium in Virgo. You have Venus, connection, Uranus, electrical nervous system, and Pluto, all in Virgo, opposite Chiron. And so all of that energy that you're talking about, that alchemy and that process of moving through your nervous system and connecting in your body, mind, and soul, Chiron, you're always, there's this conversation, this dialogue that's going back and forth, asking you to be integrated. Because if they're not integrated, then they break apart. Right. And so it's just beautiful to hear you describing your work in this way, because it so fits your natal chart.
Which is so interesting because I am still learning my natal chart. I mean, the work that you and I have done, continue to do, feels so potent right now, like at this point in my life, because, you know, I have delved a little bit into astrology, enough to know the three things, right? But
Yeah.
really understanding the energy of this has just been so profound. And some days I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm still trying to figure this all out. But there's an energy that I've connected with since working with you, just as simple as like my sun in Libra. I look at it so differently since you're showing me how to use my chart and to look at the aspects and the houses and just all the things. Like I feel like it has just elevated actually my business in such a beautiful, powerful, energetic way.
Oh, I love hearing that. I find that for those of us kind of in like the healing world or the energy world, we don't yet have the words to like specifically express. And I just seen you really blossom as you've deepened your self knowing through your astrology chart, like how you're able to really like just clearly speak to the exact things that you're doing when you're working with this big soul energy. I want to hear more about talking about that energy and how you raise that vibration of one's energy and how that expresses through someone's business.
You know, it's so interesting because I remember the day when I was like, I want to feel the energy in my hands, right? I'm like, okay, I know it's there and it's very subtle, but I'm like, I really want to feel it. And I remember going to bed and I had a dream where I was in this smart car driving in Europe, and this smart car went over the cliff. Story gets better. It gets better. It gets so
Exciting.
much better. And so it went over in the cliff, and as soon as it hit the water, the first thing I remember saying in my dream is, I can't breathe. And I saw like this energy come in. It was like just like a white energy, and it was like it was almost like translucent, but I could see it a little bit, and it just said, "You can breathe, just breathe." And I remember taking a deep breath, and as soon as I took that deep breath, my whole body like felt electrocuted. Like it just felt like, "Oh my gosh, I was saying I can't feel energy, and now I was saying it was too much." Like I remember in my dream saying it's too much, right? Because it felt like, oh, I can't take it. And then the energy said relax, and I breathed, and then again it felt like too much. But as soon as I woke up that next morning, I decided to go all in on
Mm,
doing energy work, because I knew that we are in this human body, but we are electrical, right? We are magnetic. And
yeah.
so when I talk about like really raising the energy of our business, right? The vibration, we're energy. Everything is energy. Me, you, everything around us is energy. But what happens is we get in our thoughts and our feelings and in our emotions, which are energy and motion, and our beliefs about things. So for instance, let's just say that you have a desire, I don't know, you want to make an additional $100,000 in the next 6 months. And
I'll
so you
take
have,
that.
right? And so there's this energy around making an additional $100,000 in the next 6 months. But there's this energy over here, which is a belief or a story that you don't really even believe that you can make that. Not you, but just in general, right?
Yeah.
So there's the energy of our desire, which is pretty high, because if you could think about it, to make $100,000 in 6 months, to me, it's super, super exciting, right? Which means it's a very high vibration. But if I'm over here really doubting it, these energies are not in alignment at all.
Mm-hmm.
So then we struggle to understand, well, what's happening? Like, I'm doing all the things, right? I'm doing all the things that they say to do in business, and I'm still not making it. Well, we need to be able to connect back with our energy to figure out, well, what's bringing up that story? What's the wound that I haven't healed? What is some belief or some story that's happening? So when we raise the vibration of our business, it's because we raise the vibration of our stories and of our beliefs and how we see ourselves, how we feel ourselves, how we speak about ourselves, how we hold ourselves in our own presence and our light and our magnetism, right?
Yeah.
So these have to be in alignment energetically, or we just go through this vicious loop of chasing the thing and then doing all the things and then wondering, why am I not making this $100,000? Because
Yeah.
there's something that you haven't revealed that needs to be healed. And so once we reveal things, we can heal it. And once we start to name it, then we can shift and change things. So that's sort of like the ABCs of how we raise the vibration of our business, because our business is a frequency. So if I'm feeling a certain way about my business, let's say I'm super, super excited, right? So my energy is excited, my vibration is high. Well, that vibration sends out a signal, which is a frequency that then connects to the people that I'm excited to work with, that I want to connect with, and they get to feel, they may not know me,
Yeah.
but there's something that they feel my energy. There's something inside of them that says, I want to know more, I want to get to know her. And
Yeah.
then once that happens, the magic, we're,
Yeah.
we're really sitting in the beauty of the work we do in a way that not only lights us up, but other people feel it and want a piece of it.
Ooh, I want to go back to that example because I feel like there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about this idea of like, okay, you have this dream, you have this intention, but then the stories that kind of sabotage that. I want
Mm-hmm.
to dig into that a little bit because I want to, that's going to segue into us talking about our new moon ceremony that we'll be doing together. But
Yes.
in the new moon ceremonies, I'm always asking people to like create their ultimate dream. Like, what is that big
Mm-hmm.
thing that they want? And
Mm-hmm.
then that's not my gift to be able to connect the dots in terms of like what's preventing us. But when your example, when you said, okay, I want to make $100,000 in that next 6 months, the the stories, the belief systems that all of a sudden are on my right shoulder, they're saying, well, you're gonna have to work really hard for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
have that many resources and time and energy to work that hard to make that $100,000. And two, if you're gonna work easier, who's gonna pay you that much money? Right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
there's two belief systems that already, boom, popped up that I'm guessing that a lot of listeners also have those things like, oh, I don't want to work that hard, or,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't have that value, that worthiness, that what I have to offer. And so if maybe you could quickly share some insight as to like some of the questions to be able to dispel that negative charge, because
Mm-hmm.
that's also what I see you doing energetically is you're adding this electrical charge through that
Mm-hmm.
amplification, because you have that Pluto Uranus Venus conjunction in the ninth house. You're almost like amplifying it, you're adding more juice to it to dispel it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I received that.
Yeah.
I received that. So it's interesting. So as you're speaking, and these are just examples, what I notice is which of the examples that you shared has a heavier charge, right?
Mhm.
And the one that does, it has really nothing to do with how hard we work. It has more to do with who's going to pay me that, right? So
Yeah.
as soon as you say that, and I'm not reading your energy because I haven't asked permission, but I'm just giving examples. So if
Yeah.
someone says, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can charge that much for my service, then what I first do is I ask for their permission and I connect with their energy. And then I just start asking questions of their soul, because the soul is the truth. Because
Yeah.
if I ask a question of the mind's going to try to come up with all the things, like all the reasons of rationalizing why I said what I said,
Yeah.
right? So what happens is I connect with the soul, but then I immediately can see like a disc in the nervous system that lights up, and it tells me a story from when somebody was little that hasn't been healed, that's still playing out in their business. around worthiness.
Isn't
And
that
so
the
I just
truth?
started to ask questions because I'm not asking your mind the question, I'm asking your soul. And as long as I direct my intention there and my attention, it will be revealed. If I ask your mind's going to go into another story. And then that story might be, well, I don't want to say this because I don't want to be judged. Your soul is a powerful energy that is not concerned about what somebody thinks of it. It
Mhm.
just speaks truth.
Oh, I love that so much. Just like total chills, just hearing that. And I know that the listeners will totally get a lot out of that. And for just total transparency, I have worked with Tracy, and she's helped me with some energetic healing before. And it's pretty, you always have to have your box of tissues with you because she's going to go deep. But I love how you can see all of those like discs in one's nervous system. That's
Yeah,
so
it's like it's a
beautiful.
portal of remembrance. That's what I really believe it is.
Portal of remembrance. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So beautiful. Before we go on, I just wanted to let everybody know that after a long hiatus, I'll be bringing back our new moon ceremonies. And so I'll have a Libra new moon ceremony, and co-hosting with me will be Tracy. And just so excited. Can you tell us a little bit of what you'll be doing to help us open the space for our new moon ceremony?
We hold so much energy in our body. And I always believe, like, our minds are such beautiful, crafty energies, but there are a lot of stories, but the body knows the truth. So I like to begin with a little bit of movement and music because I don't know, music for me is just like, it's music to the soul. And so we're going to start with a little bit of movement with music. But it's not just the vibration of the sound, it's the words that are being shared, that are being encoded in your soul so that you can actually prepare yourself for this opening ceremony. So we're going to do some breath work, right? We hold so much energy, so many emotions in our breath. And I really feel like when we connect with the intimacy of our breath, then we can then land back in our bodies where we can be present with ourself, with our energy, and we can feel embodied. So that's how we're going to start. And then we're going to just connect with all of our divine counsel, right? Inviting them in to support us, to guide us, to nurture us, to nourish us, so that you feel safe enough to just allow yourself to be and to take in the information, and perhaps it serves you in some way. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to just do what else that feels called to be and to do as I sit here and support you, Leslie.
Mm, it'll be so magical. So Tracy's going to be offering this beautiful opening and space holding with her intuitive alchemy. Of course, we'll be talking about this epic Libra new moon. And you usually think about a Libra new moon, and you think, oh, it's going to be so peaceful and beautiful. And this new moon isn't exactly like that. We have Pluto going direct, so just intensifying where it's been stuck at 24 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have still the Mercury retrograde, which will be almost at that midway point. And so we have all of these key players. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have Mercury, and we have Mars
Mm.
all in Libra all at the
Mm.
same time. So it's going to be this powerful place where we can like maybe let go of some of that anxiety or frustration or anger that keeps us from achieving those big goals in our business and in our lives. So if you're interested, please join Tracy and me for our upcoming new moon ceremony for Libra. That'll be on the day of the new moon on October 6th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Head over to thesavvyluminary.com/new moon to sign up. And it is a sliding scale. We recommend paying $47 to $97. And I had to raise the prices a little bit for the personalized readings just because just so many charts come through, and it's really hard for me to create the energetic space to go through all of them. So if you pay $97 or more, I will send you an extended guided, personalized reading about your new moon activation, as well as some insight about Mercury retrograde. So again, thesavvyluminary.com/new moon to join Tracy and me for this upcoming new moon in Libra ceremony.
Sounds juicy. I can't wait.
Doesn't it sound amazing? I just like so honored and thrilled just by the community that has shown up as of lately. And I feel like just as I've worked on my own energy, it's just been calling forth and amplifying out and connecting with other amazing, powerful luminaries. So
Beautiful.
we were talking about, I want to go back to that dream because it was so potent to imagine, you driving off the cliff, diving into the water, freaking out about not being able to breathe, but then trusting, your soul said you can breathe.
Mm.
And then having access to me, it's like this Tesla coil of energy. And like at first touch, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle all this energy.
Yes.
But then you connected to it and you learned how to control it. That's to me, that Pluto Uranus that you have, because Pluto intensifies and
Mm.
it distills, and that Uranus part, that's the electrical. So you have that Pluto Uranus Venus. So it's not painful.
I mean, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I feel like it's just been a metaphor, right? So I'm questioning, oh, I don't feel things. I have this dream. I feel things. In the water, I say, I can't breathe. And what are the two things that I do besides everything else is breath work and energy healing. So it's just amazing that um, sometimes we don't even know how something is showing up for us,
Mm-hmm.
but when we just get to allow, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you're working with clients or just like experiencing like the chaotic energy of the world that we live in,
Hmm.
how do you keep yourself grounded when everything is just so
Mm.
noisy?
It is so noisy too. I live in Georgia, so it's real noisy here. I am such a nature person. Like being out in nature is what it resets my energy, it rejuvenates me. I feel like I can release energy. So being in nature and just allowing myself to just really just connect with the energy of Mother Earth
Mm,
um, is something that I do every single day. It's a non-negotiable for
yeah,
me. Like
yeah.
my husband knows it, my son knows it. I know that it is what is supporting me, but also my business.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I do. The other thing that I do is every day I do breath work. Every single day. Because I know that sometimes when we're going through things, we don't even know that we're holding our breath or we're shallow breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are two things I do. The third thing that I do, which I love so much, is I connect with my other sisters. Like I really want other women that are entrepreneurs. Like I want to celebrate them. I want to hold space for them. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to see themselves in those moments when they doubt themselves, right? We need our sisters around that can remind us of our brilliance, right? For
Yeah.
me, brilliance is it's our light, it's our energy, it's our gifts. And sometimes we forget that. So those are the things that I do to kind of drown out all of the noise so that I can come back to hearing myself, so that I can come back to feeling myself, so that I can come back to knowing myself and trusting myself.
It's so beautiful. When you go out for a kind of your experiencing nature, like first thing in the mornings, are you able to access some place that has like these grand vistas or vast views or vast spaces?
So the place that I go to, which is just 10 minutes from my house, and every day I'm like, thank you, God, this is such a gift. I can't even believe it. It has beautiful waterfalls and big
Oh my
hills,
gosh.
and it's just something so magical about when you're still, or not even still because you're walking, but when you're
Yeah.
quiet, all the sounds around you, right? You really get to connect with all the elements, right? In a way that is so powerful. But then all the sounds, right? Because sound is such a potent medicine to heal
Mm-hmm.
us, right? So it's like the birds and the insects, but also moving, right? Many times when we might have things going on, or when like we feel like we're not grounded. Movement, meaning just walking, right? So
Yeah.
as I'm walking, I am setting the intention that I'm grounding my energy, that there are roots growing from the bottom of my feet chakras, connecting with Mother Earth. And I just allow myself that time. It's like a
Yeah.
ritual, right? Everything for me is ritual, right? If I'm drinking this water, it's a ritual because I'm nourishing my cells and my energy. And so it's the ritual of how I'm connecting with Mother Earth. And doing that then allows me to be like here with you or be
Yeah.
with a client and to totally be in my own presence and in my own energy while holding space for you and your energy.
Oh, that's so wonderful because one of the reasons why I asked about the grand vistas is we're thinking about our rising sign and the way that we
Mm.
initiate. So, how you start your day with your Sagittarius rising, it's literally the muscles, like your thigh muscles, that give you mobility, that move you.
Oh,
And
wow.
Sagittarius likes big, right? And so thinking about like big spaces or big vistas, but even just simply being out in nature where you're appreciating the vastness of the
Mm.
abundance of God that that God shares with us here on
It
this
is
beautiful
beautiful.
earth.
It's like 4 miles, right? So it's really big, but it's really interesting because it's big, but it feels intimate.
Yeah.
Like there's just something about when you're walking down a path and you see all these gorgeous trees and around you, like all the energy that the earth is giving off, right? And you get to just breathe that in and take that in like it's just magical.
Mm.
Mm.
I want to just reflect back that I love that you practice your own medicine. So wonderful.
Yes,
So,
and but I want to say this. Listen, what you see here, it's taken a long time,
oh yeah.
right? And I still have ways to go. And I'm saying that because sometimes we can look at a picture or we conjure up this story about somebody and we think, oh, but I've been at this a while and I'm still learning myself, feeling myself, believing and trusting. But I just keep leaning into whatever that edge is. And I got lots of edges, but I keep leaning into it and then having fun with it and being like, okay, Shadow, I see you. Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's a journey. It's a never-ending journey. We're all there.
yeah.
Ah, so wonderful. So I wanted to see if you were interested in a little game of questions I call the
Yes.
star question.
Yes, of
And
course.
I think you shared so much already, but if star, I asked you 4 questions. And so the S is for spirituality. And you've already shared with us, but what spiritual practices do you use in your business?
So many, so many.
So many.
Like I said, I connect deeply with our energy centers. Some people call them our chakras. I not only connect with the 7 that are our majors, I connect with the 12, so from our crown all the way up to our 12th and then below
Oh,
our
wow.
feet. I connect with crystal bowls, so sound healing. I bring those into my work. I connect with crystals. Like right now, I'm holding this gorgeous fluorite because it
Oh,
just it
beautiful.
just elevates your energy. Um, Breath work. So really, all of these practices or ancient practices that we bring into this
Yeah.
modern world. And what they basically do is to allow us to connect with something greater than ourselves, right? So that
Mm.
we're not just relying on ourselves, that we're also relying on our ancestors and our divine counsel. Another thing that I love to do, and I don't know if you would call it a spiritual practice, for me it is, but in the morning when I wake up, I ask myself, how are you feeling this morning? And then I wait for the answer. I write it down and then I say thank you. What else? And I'll keep doing that if I went to bed with something and then I wake up with it or I want to clear myself because I'm about to go into session with a client. It's
Mm-hmm.
called kenosis. And so you're
Ooh.
basically just asking questions, thanking your inner self, asking what else, continuing to ask your inner self what else. And you just keep doing this for a few moments and it's amazing how it really can help your body to feel lighter. It can help you to
Mm.
just release things. So, those are just a few of the things. Like, I also do ceremonies with my clients. Like, I just got done doing a ceremony earlier today. So, ceremony means we are doing all of the things so that my client can connect with their soul in a way that their soul shows them their path, right? Some people call it your purpose, your life purpose. Well, it's a soul work, it's a soul purpose. So I go into full on ceremony, bringing all the things, elixirs, essential oils, drumming, sound healing, breath work, energy work, asking questions, holding space, witnessing the brilliance in my client. And so it's just a multitude of things.
Yeah, so spirituality is deeply ingrained
Yes,
in everything that you do.
it is because, some people are like, well, my business is over here, my spirituality is over there. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
right? But for me, business is spiritual.
Yeah, that's how it is for me too.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thank you.
So T in star is for thanks. What challenges did you overcome for which you are now grateful?
The biggest challenge being able to show up in places like this and being able to speak. Because there was a time when I was so nervous that I would literally shake and then I would have a paper and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write this down in case he asks me this question. And it never worked because I would lose my place, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to just be in the shy and introvert and be able to show up and share with you is just like a beautiful gift, especially because there was a time when I couldn't speak that well because of a surgery I had. So every time that I speak, I'm like, I'm just healing another part of myself. And I just get to be in communication and in connection with the person, with you, and I just get to show up. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, well, thank you. So A is for activism.
Mm.
What social impact do you want to make through your business?
Really, I believe that diversity is very, very important. And being able to be in spaces and places where I don't see a lot of people that look like me,
Mm.
I really want to hold space for more black and brown women to show up and just bring all of their brilliance into all of these spaces and places where it didn't probably feel so comfortable before because you didn't see a lot of representation. Like
Yeah.
I'm holding space for that because I'm like, if I can do this work, if I can hold space for this and do this work, so can so many other. And so I just feel like I'm leading by example.
Yeah, we have to lead by example because there weren't role models for us.
No, no.
So,
And I think we still have a long way to go in the personal development and spiritual world in terms of seeing people that look like me.
yeah.
But I feel like it is up to me to just move forward. Just lean into the edge and just keep talking about your work and keep showing up and sharing because being of service is one of the most powerful things that we can do because the more that I can be in service to somebody else, then they can be in service to somebody else. And then we're just
Yes.
impacting the world.
Oh, I love that so much.
Thank you.
Okay, last star question. Radiate. How do you inspire others to shine brightly?
I think just by example, quite honestly, that I'm willing to be vulnerable and to share in all the ways while still also being in my light and owning that, right? Like
Yeah.
really being present in owning who I am,
Mm-hmm.
speaking my truth in love, and just being there and showing up and witnessing myself and showing other people, like, if I can do this, you can do this.
Yeah.
And we can do this together, and I can hold space for you and witness you and honor you as you really show up in your light, in your radiance, in your brilliance, making no excuses or apologies, not feeling like you're too much or too little, like just bringing all of you into whatever you're doing and then owning that.
For me, when I hear you talk about it, that it sounds like just like you've cultivated this, like just the deepest trust in yourself, that you're just bringing through that inner trust, and through that trust it ripples forth to inspire others to trust themselves.
Well, thank you. I love the way that you say that because I am deeply connected with my soul, and the soul is truth, and truth is trust. So, yes. And listen, trust can look very, very different depending on the day. But the thing is, when you just lean into it, right, versus this way. I don't know,
Yeah.
there's just something magical that happens when you just get lit up from the inside out. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing those star questions.
Thank
I know
you.
we're going a little bit over, but if you had a moment before we share about your work, you've had a chance to work with me one on one for some
Yeah.
astrogram sessions, and then now you've gone through almost all of Star Powered Intensive with me. Could you share a little bit of how that has impacted you and your business?
Oh my goodness. So I have always known my rising, my sun, and my moon, but really going deep with you and working through, I feel like the energy of each of these, the archetypes of each of these have helped me, for instance. So I am so deeply connected with the sun. Like when I see the sun, like I just light up, right? Like I'm so joyful, and that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
But now I feel like the sun is soul, right?
Yeah.
SOL. And what do? I work so deeply and connect so deeply with the soul. So I feel like since I've been working with you and really harnessing the energy around the sun, right? And all the planets and the house it's in, I have a greater appreciation for how the sun, meaning the soul, being the soul of my business, is really showing up and how that is really giving me the courage to like just trust and speak on this and not care like, oh, can everybody understand what I say when I'm like SOL? It's like a it's like the sun radiates through every aspect of my core, which then is a reflection of my business. And then it gives me the courage to take that leap, to keep leaning in and keep sharing my work in such a brilliant, powerful way. And I don't know if I would have done that or I would have looked at the sun the way that I do now if it hadn't been for the work that I'm still doing with you, you know? And so
Oh.
I'm so grateful because it has really given me the do it anyway attitude and
Yeah.
but also really understanding how I'm a cosmic being, right? And being connected to this solar energy, I don't know, it just delights me. Like at nighttime when I get in my bed, I take out my little astrology, like I have different books and I have the
Mhm.
things and I have everything like everything that you've given us, I like print out and I sit in my bed after I've lit my candle and my essential oils, and I don't know, like it just feels like it feeds me in such a beautiful way.
Oh, thank you so much, Tracy. It's been just such a delight to be able to work with you, like just
Thank
both
you.
of us co-creating with each other. So
Thank you.
thank you. All right. So, how can people find you and work with you? Tell us all of the things.
All the things. So you can find me at tracyneely.com, which is my website, or you can find me at Tracy Neely on Facebook or Tracy L. Neely on my Facebook business page or Tracy Neely on Instagram. And that's TracyNeely. And you can connect with me through my website. I work with my clients, my private clients, in two ways. I work with them in my mentoring program, which is Elevate Alchemy, which is my 6 month one on one program. And I also work with them in my Soul Luminance, which is a 1 month program where we really get to experience the alchemical charge from your healing, from your activating and radiating your most beautiful, powerful light so that you really get to feel into your brilliance, meaning your light, your energy, and your gifts. And so, this is how I'm holding space for my clients. I love it so much. It brings me so much joy to see people really connect with themselves in a way that lights them up and then leads them on their way to do this impactful work for the
Yeah.
people that they work with because I work with entrepreneurs. It's just a gift every single day, and I just am so grateful to be of service.
Oh my goodness. So definitely everybody check out Tracy's beautiful energetic work to really raise your vibration of your soul through your business. Oh, Tracy, thank you so much for joining
Thank
me
you.
today.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it so much. And I'm so looking forward. I hope everybody comes to this new moon. Whew, the energy is so big right now, but let's harness that, right? Let's really
Yeah.
connect deeply and then allow Leslie to like tell us all the things so that we can connect even deeper.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This new moon ceremony is going to be epic, really reconnecting to all of our soul partners, our soul collaborators, and of course, our soul customers. So
Mm.
this is wonderful. So join Tracy and I, thesavvyluminary.com/new moon to sign up again, October 6th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. So, all right, luminaries, you know what to do. Check out Tracy Neely on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.